They're talking on set, trying to figure out who the killer is.
Were they surprised? Was the cast surprised?
Extremely surprised.
Hi, I'm Brooke.
And I'm Brad.
And this is Charlie. And together we are We Love Horror. And today we're talking to Gregory Brock and Austin Rutherford, the filmmakers on a new film coming out called The Last Sleepover. Last Sleepover is a horror film, but can't give too much away. But we did get to chat with the filmmakers, so we'll show you that.
2 months ago, we went to Horror Hound, where we actually saw Gregory Brock, and we struck up a conversation with him and found out that he's making a movie called The Last Sleepover, and he had one of the actors with him that was dressed up as the main villain, Scarlett.
And oh my goodness, you guys, when we were at Horror Hound and I saw the actor who was dressed up as the villain, I was freaked out.
I'm Gregory W. Brock. I'm a co-director on The Last Sleepover, and I've been in filmmaking since 2003.
My name's Austin Rutherford. I've been making films since 2010. I am a co-writer, producer, and camera operator on The Last Sleepover.
So you guys just got done filming, right? Like just a few days ago?
Yeah. We still have one block for pickup shots left, but we wrapped the majority of it.
Yeah, we got most everything we needed and finished up about 10 o'clock this past Friday. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's really exciting. Do you feel really good now? Like, okay, we did it?
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody just brought their A game, from crew to cast, like everybody. Especially having Jason Crow as my not only my first AD but also my co-director. Just having him out there calling the shots too. I mean, it ran like a finely oiled machine.
Yeah, definitely.
Even through all the chaos, because the 29th we shot 30 pages.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
That's a lot of pages.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was
One day?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that we had allotted for those 2 days to be what we shot, and it was kind of the big stressor in the back of our mind the whole time of like, how on earth are we going to get this done? But those 2 days actually ended up being two of the best ones we had the whole block, so
Really?
Oh, that's really great.
definitely worked out.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of filming, I was going to ask you, what was the most challenging scene to film? And I know you may not be able to, like, depending on what scene it is, you may not be able to give us too much detail. But was there anything in
There's
particular?
quite a few actually, but the reunion, I mean, it's just such a big beast. Like, it's a big majority of the film.
The reunion, at least in terms of the story and how it'll play out in the movie, that's kind of when everything gets set in motion, and so that part's very crucial, to what's to come for the rest. It kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movie, and so like Greg said, it ended up just being really big because we
So many characters in that
a lot
scene.
of characters,
Those scenes.
a lot of interactions. That's where we introduce a lot of the characters in the movie.
Big monologues.
Um,
The monologues in that scene alone are just crazy.
Plus, we had like a ton of background. I mean, we had probably, I don't even know the head count, but we had a whole like lodge full of people as background.
Really?
And and we believe in trying to kind of giving people kind of the best of their time that we can, and so we tried to also kind of just take some of the regular background and integrate them into some of the bigger scenes and that sort of thing.
That's really
So,
nice.
a lot of moving parts. That's definitely the most complex one we've shot
Absolutely.
of the whole thing. But
Yeah.
it all went together and come together well. So
Well,
can't really complain.
kind of a similar question, but more about, speaking of you as filmmakers,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most challenging part of just filmmaking? Like, not just this movie, but just in general. You're on a set, you've got all these different moving parts that have to fit together.
Yeah, especially when you've got celebrity names in it. The biggest thing is scheduling, because you want to make
Oh,
you're adhering to their schedules along with the principal cast also. Good thing about this one, Felissa was one of the principal cast too, so she's actually one of the leads in it. So her availability became a lot more available to us just because of that fact. But we still had a lot to work around because we only had her for 2 days this last block, so we had to make sure all of her scenes were done by the end, which we did get to do. So
Yeah.
That's
Of,
good.
kind of to add to what Greg's saying, just from a producer standpoint, I mean, it really is just all in the scheduling because it feels like even on days that you know really have planned things out, it feels like time is hardly ever on your side.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And so there's a lot of times where you really have to be kind of on your toes and you have to be ready to kind of pivot and change and move as the day goes. You know, it's an interesting juggle because you have to be able to kind of do that, but also like not compromise what you're trying to get done. And so
Right.
Yeah.
that part of it is like very challenging, and that's a part that most people never really get to see when they see the finished product, because they kind of just see where we land on things.
Right.
But you know, sometimes things have to be adjusted or you know fixed to kind of you know make up for the time or to make up for having to get one of the celebrities out by a certain time and what have you. So that presents a whole set of challenges within itself.
especially if you have a night shoot also because we had a night
Yeah.
shoot and it didn't get dark till like 9:30 and
Yeah.
so we didn't get to get started till then, and you're also fighting with the sun coming up. So we
Right.
ended up right before the sun came up. We finally wrapped that day.
It's
Oh,
So
all
that.
just
Wow, man.
Oh,
things
that's
that
tight.
casual moviegoers never even see or
yeah,
notice. But
Yeah. That's actually intimidating because you're like you can't
yeah,
fight with the sun. I mean, the
you
sun is gonna
can't.
come up
No.
whether.
right. And
Yeah.
that
Did you have any
shit.
problems with like
Sometimes the
equipment or anything like that, like cameras going out? I always feel like just in the small little
Batteries.
things we do, I
batteries.
feel like that's an
Gosh,
issue.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
batteries for
a
sure.
lot
Yeah.
of cameras that we kind of use on this, you know, they're running a lot of different things on the camera itself as we're trying to roll, and so
Sucks power
you
like
know, it
crazy.
drains power like crazy, and
Yeah.
so you just gotta really gotta kind of have your batteries like pretty much on a rotating charge no matter what to keep.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
of course.
But what was your favorite part about getting this movie made? Because this has been kind of a, um, I mean, you know, as a filmmaker, it's like your dream to see your vision come out there
Yeah.
and be alive. So it must be really exciting. But do you have like a favorite thing about getting this film made?
Absolutely. The biggest thing was I think the casting was just a blast
Yeah,
because I've had this story in my head for about 10 years and just finally be able to put it to paper and then going out finding the cast that's going to nail their roles and every one of them went above and beyond. That's definitely my favorite part. And then also adding Lisa and Felissa into the mix, some horror icons that we got to work with and I mean, just see what makes them legends is just their performances are phenomenal.
What do you do in directing someone that's like really established already? Like, do you just kind of back off and let them know, let them do their
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
You give them very little, like, this is just what this is what the scene is. Now do it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm very detailed in my writing too, so I think a lot of it comes through.
that and you know, Greg and I are kind of going back to the question of like the favorite part. I agree with Greg about how the casting and the people that we chose have been my favorite because you know, like he said, it's one thing to be able to write it and whatever, and it's another thing, like you all said, to be able to see it come to life. But everyone that we've chosen, I mean, they brought it to a whole other level than even just that to me. Like, I mean, they've done things with these characters that I never could have even imagined, and I helped write the thing, you know, and so that part's been amazing. And you know, but to add to that again, it's like you know, Greg and I are very adamant in thinking that you know the script is kind of a blueprint. It's just kind of a place for you to get your key points and kind of figure out where to land. And so when it comes to some of the you know higher talent and things that we got on board, it's like he said, you kind of just let them do their thing. You know, just kind of let them kind of form their performance and things the way that they want, and then we just are lucky enough to be there to capture it.
What was the total amount of shooting days you guys did? Was
11.
11 days. I
Yeah,
think we did six the first block, and then we kind of took about a month break and went back this past week and shot for five.
oh, okay. So you took it
Yeah.
like okay, that's nice. Did you was that what you already planned out or did you have to add some days?
actually, we had it originally planned for 14 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had initially planned on kind of doing it all in one chunk, but then obviously due to scheduling and different things, we had to kind of space it out. But I think that was beneficial in the sense that kind of having that time in between, it kind of allowed us to regroup a little bit and kind of maybe see like maybe what didn't work on the first block that could work on this one and what have you. So I think it worked out better by doing it that
Yeah,
way.
for sure.
What? How did you come into you? I see your I guess the killer, the mascot, your merch. What? How did you
Yeah.
come to the design on that? What? Who decided the design?
Yeah. Oh, and
Well,
was
I had the
also
overall design probably about 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, I mean, 10 years for the actual weapon because I always wanted her to have an umbrella with a bladed umbrella. But her overall design I came up with about 5 or 6 years ago because I knew I wanted like an anime type wig. I wanted a doll-like mask with button eyes. Now Austin came up with the chrome button eyes, which was phenomenal
Yeah.
idea because it really, as soon as that light hits them, like it
Yeah.
glows
Well, and
wherever she's at.
Greg's had this has kind of been in Greg's mind for 10 years, like he said. It's kind of been a passion project of his. He had come up with the idea. He'd come up with the story. Probably around what was it, December of last
Yeah,
year. He says, "Hey, like we finished up another movie that we did called The Town Without Halloween." As with any filmmakers, we were like, "What are we going to do next?" And Greg said, "Hey, I've got this movie that I've really been wanting to do. Like, why don't we do it?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'll help you however we can." But so we were we were in a shoot in Louisville. We had went down to Louisville to shoot an event for one of our buddies, and we just sat in a hotel room that night and just hashed out ideas, and that became like the first draft of the movie we wrote. And then he had the look down and he was like, I want it to be some kind of doll mask, but he said, I don't know. He's like, I want it to be something unique because obviously, anyone who's a horror fan, we have movies like Alice, Sweet Alice that's kind of looks like a doll.
yeah,
You have like The Strangers, you have the movie The Girl in the Photographs. I mean, there's been several movies that have used just kind of a basic doll look. And so we knew we wanted to do one, but we wanted it to be something different. And so we kind of come up with the idea, and then we said, well, what can we do to make it stand out? And I'm a big fan of the 2009 movie The Collector. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever seen it, but it's
I
The
know of it.
Collector.
I don't think I've.
well,
Yeah, we have.
that's actually
Um,
what I was gonna. Another question I had was, what kind of inspiration did you have? So I'd love to hear more about how that inspired you.
Yes, so I'm a big fan of the movie The Collector, and in that movie, the main killer, I won't really give away what he is because it would spoil it, but his character, the actor who plays him, his character, he has a fascination with like spiders and bugs, basically. And so it's kind of I guess sort of a character thing that the team did for him is that they made him have reflective contact lenses like spider eyes. And so anytime the light hits his eyes in low light in that movie, you can see that his eyes glowing and reflecting. And so, Greg and I were having these conversations back and forth, and I said, why don't we just make it to where her eyes glow somehow? And so I said, if you get these buttons and hit them with chrome spray paint, I said, no matter where the light hits it, it'll shimmer and it'll light up. And
it
even
definitely
in low
does.
light, it looks like she just has big flashlight beams for eyes, and so it kind of worked out well for that.
Yeah, that kind of also answered. I was going to ask you what, if the original idea, if the idea for the villain kind of morphs over time, and it did. I thought that was so fascinating to hear about the original idea and kind of things you
Yeah,
came up with as you went and how the final result looked. And I have to tell you, at Horror Hound, what attracted me over to you guys was I was like, oh my goodness, that mask is terrifying. And I
yeah,
had to
we
go
got
talk
that
to
a
the
lot.
girl in it, and I had to say,
Yeah,
and I had to say, you are so scary. And then to come to find out it was from a movie,
Mm.
yeah,
that was awesome. And what a great way to advertise, too.
I
like,
think so too.
people
Yeah, she
won't
worked
forget
pretty
that.
well. And
Does
it's a masked female killer. You don't have that very often.
No, yeah.
yeah. Does the character have a name? I know that the
Scarlett,
killer is unknown. Oh, Dolly.
Her
Scarlett.
name is
Oh,
Scarlett.
Scrawly. Okay.
Scarlett.
Scarlett.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
Scarlett.
sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Scarlett. Okay. Was there anything else to add to that, like on how?
Yeah, I know it's the last summer. Mean Girls has a lot of aspect in it.
Mm.
Yeah, especially because it's Mean Girls meets I Know It's Still Last Summer is a
Oh
whole premise.
yeah.
Yeah. Which our lead, Erin, she plays Erin in the movie. I mean, it's just she is one of the meanest people you'll ever meet in the movie, but the sweetest behind the scenes. Really funny.
How was it? How was it on set? Like, was there any struggles or anything on set? Or
No, no, everybody, just brought their A game. Everybody, no, there were no divas on this set.
The
Everybody
entire
got along
cast
really
just
well.
absolutely nailed it from
They
start
love
to
each
finish.
other.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
tell us with your merch,
Mhm.
when our audiences are able to see this movie, can they get merch or was that just made for the movie?
We did make some for the movie. Now we
Yeah.
will be going out, I'm sure, getting licensing deals, and we'll have outlets to have merch. Our website for one, which we're actually
Yeah,
working on
we're
currently.
working on building that right now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome
The
because that
website.
doll is great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's 5 left.
So there's 5 left of these on our Indiegogo campaign. These are handmade by Zombie Cow Productions.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
And they're limited editions, and so she's only making what was it
20.
and there's 5 left remaining. The other amount has been claimed.
Okay. Has that
For
been like your
handmade?
hottest sell, like hottest sale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that and the tumbler. She also makes the tumblers.
Tumblr. Okay.
And also, in addition to, I mean, yeah, it is just the miniature doll version of the killer, but it's also in the movie. Like this doll
Yeah,
has
that's
a very big significance in the actual
the
movie.
plot.
I thought that okay, I didn't realize that. I thought the doll was, made to promote the movie and promote
Right.
the villain, but not that the doll was actually in the movie. That's
Yeah,
even more
it
interesting.
is.
This doll is in a very important scene in the movie and has to do with a certain character that is very important.
Yep.
So,
That's
so
awesome.
that's exciting. And then also another big thing that we were selling was we also were selling the screen used mask.
Oh, cool.
We basically made. So I came up with the original mask and kind of customized it. And then we had a buddy of mine that lives close by to where Greg and I live. We had to make duplicates, and so I have 5 masks that are on set, or that were on set, that
Being used.
that were being used in different scenes, and people could get on there and claim a screen used mask and get it signed by the cast or whoever was wearing it or whatever it may be. So that's also kind of been a big seller too, and we'll make more.
Yeah.
We just made a run of 5, initially, but my buddy has the mold or whatever that the masks come from, and so like we can get more, but we'll have those up in the store and stuff too, because I hand paint them all.
And we can put a link in the video when this goes up if you
Yeah.
to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have screen used wardrobe, which Felissa's and Lisa's already sold. They sold like almost first day we put them up. So
Yeah.
Oh.
No, wow.
Those are really great ideas.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
making a
you.
movie is not cheap, so that's awesome
It's
to have
not,
these
yeah.
avenues of getting some profit going.
absolutely.
That we just kind of realized that like people just like to get hands-on stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, digital downloads and things are cool, but like people like things that they can get
Tangible,
their hands on.
yeah.
Tangible things they can get their hands on and add to their shelf or whatever. So we tried to kind of keep it unique in that sense.
What do you, with this movie, like with our audience, what would we tell them? Is kind of, I feel like to me, the hook was really just seeing how scary the mask was, how scary
Right.
the doll, because it just makes you want to find out what's going on, like who is this
Right.
person, what are they gonna do? Would you say that's kind of the hook, or is there anything that our audience should know that's gonna make them like they want to see this movie?
Yeah, I mean,
To
there's
me,
a
the
lot
mask
of
was enough. I mean, that right there, I
Right.
was like, I want to see this movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but there's probably a lot more in the movie.
there's a
that
lot
will
of
hook people.
drama underneath it, dramatic undertones also. Like there's some scenes that are probably going to disturb some people. With everything that's leading it forward. A lot of the even with the pastels, which are the the younger versions of the main characters, when you first see them, they wear the light color pastels, but as they get older, after the events that happen on prom night, then they wear the darker versions of those colors. So yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, the characters are completely different from where they were, 20 years ago.
And and that was a big thing with like Greg and I, is we really just wanted to ensure that each of the main pastels had like an arc within themselves. That they all had a beginning and end point. We just and really with all the characters, I mean, we put a lot of work into just the character development and where they start and where they end and what they go through. Um, but I would really kind of say that like theme wise, like thematically, like it's like really when it's all said and done. I mean, I think the message is that it's just like being ugly and being mean to people gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
It might even get you hurt in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or otherwise.
Oh,
I like that. A horror movie with a heartfelt message
Yeah.
for America's youth.
yeah.
Right.
Be good to each other.
I have to
It,
know
like
it
too.
does very much so just have like it's very much so just like actions have consequences sometimes,
Yeah.
and these people in this movie unfortunately just get to realize that.
Right.
To be at the blind end of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had did you I know when we talked to Horror Hound you were talking about each of the actors got just a segment of the script because no one knew the ending. So did that make anything difficult? Was that challenging to do?
No, it actually made for them wanting to participate more. Like they're sharing the campaigns more. They're talking on set, trying to figure out who the killer is. And this was all until about a week and a half ago. They finally got
If
the
even that, like
yeah.
some of them didn't even.
They got it a week before
a
we
few
actually
days
shot the
before.
finale, and they were home extremely surprised. Yeah.
I remember you telling us about that, but I actually had forgotten that since. And I'm glad you brought that up because I really wanted our viewers to know about that. I just thought that was so cool that the actors themselves didn't even know.
Yeah, they did.
We kind of took a beat from like Wes Craven when he directed Scream, because Greg and I are both
The
very
Scream
big
2.
Scream and Scream 2, but
Yeah.
Greg and I are both very big Scream and Wes Craven fans, and Wes done this thing back in the day where he would keep Roger Jackson, who's the voice of Ghostface, he would keep him in a separate room away from the cast, so that when they heard his voice, they wouldn't have a face to go with the voice, and their reactions would be more natural. And so we kind of did that with Scarlett, like at least earlier on, it's like Scarlett was in costume at all times. No one knew who was under it, and then also no one had the ending, and so it was like, in a way, that worked out cool because it's like the audience was just as much in for the ride as the cast was, because like they didn't know who done it until the end either. And some of them still technically
Yeah,
don't,
some
because
still don't.
some of the ones that aren't in the end of the movie, they still don't know and probably won't know until it premieres. So it's still, we're kind of still holding up the charade, really.
That's really neat.
Yeah. Does the movie does it scare you? Like has it given you any nightmares?
Yeah, there were some scenes where I'm like, I can't believe we came up with this. Because she, when she comes out of the darkness, like she's pretty intimidating.
And there's still been times, and I've even said this on set, but there's still been times where like we've been on set. I came up with the mask for Scarlett, and I oftentimes was the person who was helping Scarlett get into wardrobe initially. And like there were times that once she was fully dressed and standing there looking at me, like even though I helped create her and even though I knew who it was under there, and I made the mask and whatever, I was still bothered because I'm like, this is just creepy. Like this is just
Yeah.
like
Yeah, because she would just stand there and just look at you.
Look, tilt her head, make these weird like predator sounding noises, like all this. It was all just like mind games from beginning to end with the person playing her. Yes, so.
Yeah, I feel like that's a face you would see like when you're trying to go to bed at night and like you wake up and you see something in the
Right.
corner.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
and I don't know how much time we have left, but I do want to make sure I ask this before we get done. So I'll just ask it
We
now.
have a few minutes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and that way, if we have time for more, that's great. But
Yeah.
I still know that I got this. I wanted to know for our audience if you have any other ideas rolling around in your head of any other scary things you guys are gonna make next.
Yeah, future
Oh yeah,
projects.
Gosh.
absolutely. We have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
We call it the Three Amigos spreadsheet.
Three Amigos spreadsheet.
We have close to 100 different movie ideas on it. So yeah, we have a lot coming up the pike.
And so that's Greg and our buddy Jacob, who's part of Community Carnage with us. But Greg and Jacob started this spreadsheet back years ago when they launched the production company. I came along about 2 years ago now, and then I started adding to this spreadsheet. And like Greg said, there's like 127 movie ideas with plots in there, and so we have this whole just warped catalog of things to choose from whenever we get done with this. So
you just
there's
put it like on a spinner, just like spin the, so whatever
Yeah.
comes on. There you go.
We'll see where we
The
land.
wheel of ideas.
Absolutely.
So how long you guys been filmmaking?
I've been in it since 2003 myself. We have actually several films out there already. We have Red River, which is now Hillbilly Bloodbath.
Red River, okay.
Yeah, if you ever get to see the unrated version, that's the version to see.
Okay.
But it's on DVD. It's not on streaming. But it is on streaming, just a lot cut out of it.
A very censored version.
Yeah. Which is disappointing. And then we have Kill Granny Kill, which is also in the same boat.
Interesting. Yeah, I like the title, Kill Granny.
And then, of course, we have the Town Without Halloween that's out there. We have Jacob's movie Stash, which is on, it's actually on Tubi right now. So is Kill Granny Kills on.
Is the name of the movie? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We need to check that out. It's on Tubi.
Oh yeah. The Town Without Halloween's on Tubi. Kill Granny Kills on Tubi. Hillbilly Bloodbath is on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have a lot out there.
Nice little catalog of movies going on. That's great.
Yeah, and we actually are getting ready to release. We already have it finished editing and everything. It's called The Art of Killing. It's basically a Bob Ross type character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, named Leland Moss, and that'll be coming out soon. Here's the poster.
The Art of Killing.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to see it. Oh yeah. Is he painting a little tree?
Oh yeah. Happy little trees.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
that's funny. I mean, it's scary looking but funny.
Yeah.
Back to that question, I've been filmmaking since about 2010.
Okay.
15 years now. I kind of was off like doing other. I live here where Greg and I live. Greg and I live within 5 minutes from each other.
Yeah.
I kind of got my start just like I kind of was traveling a lot, doing a lot of film stuff on the road and things in different places. And
yeah, he was helping out on the center. The show.
I know a lot
okay.
of,
Yeah, I know that show.
yeah. So I was.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be an extras casting assistant on the pilot episode of that first season. I worked on some movies up in Lexington and different places. But I just it was so weird because one day, just out of the blue, I had seen an extras casting call for The Town Without Halloween, and I'd seen that Greg had posted it, and I sent him a private message and I said, "Hey man, I don't care at all to come out and be an extra. Looks like it'd be a lot of fun. I'd love to come out." But I was like, also I have like 14 years of film experience. I was like, if you were to just need an extra set of hands or whatever, I'm more than willing to help, glad to help. And then, Greg and I struck up a conversation and we realized that, we had lived 5 minutes away from each other for years. And I ended up coming out that day on The Town Without Halloween. I was an extra, but I also ended up hopping in on crew and running main camera. And I pretty much ran main camera on that movie from that day on until we wrapped and got it done.
And the biggest plot twist is I actually baited that extras calling for him because I posted about his
And
stuff.
so, that kind of, we've been at it ever since. And so that was going on about 2 years ago now, whenever we kind of struck up that initial conversation. But I ended up finishing The Town of That Halloween with them. I ended up becoming a producer on it. And then I helped Greg, write this one and then producing it as well. So it's been a really cool and fun collaboration so far because they're like family to me now.
Absolutely. He's
Yeah,
like,
it sounds like it. It sounds like you guys are, work great together, and
Yeah.
coming up with some really good ideas. Are you interested in doing sequels to any of your movies? Like, or are you not really?
we always leave them open to where we could. Just depending on what we're doing. We have so many ideas.
I
Who
don't
knows?
I don't think it's the intent right off. Like when we finish one, I don't think it's ever like, oh, I can't wait to go back and do a sequel to this. But at least with I know that there's been a ton of people who have really enjoyed The Town Without Halloween, and they're like, oh, I'd love to see more. And then even with this, even with The Last Sleepover, like there's been a lot of hype and excitement about it, and people have been like, oh, I hope it becomes a franchise and whatever. That to just say you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I mean, we'll go wherever we feel like things take us. So I won't say that it's not a possibility.
I mean, Scarlett being another icon with you have all the horror icons. You probably wouldn't complain like if you started
Oh,
seeing
no,
Scarlett right
absolutely.
next to
I mean,
Ghostface.
if she took off like wildfire tomorrow, I would have no thanks
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Exactly.
As I'm sure anyone would.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. You're never gonna say no.
I've been joking with the guys that as long as we don't end up with Scarlett in space, I'm okay.
Yeah, they could have done without the space and some of those other movies.
When it comes out, do we have a date yet on when it comes out, or you're still in post production because you're kind of still finishing up the movie?
Right. Yeah, I'm wanting to have it done by August, at least mid-August. Completely done, scored by Paul Wiley, who's our composer. He did the
Yes.
composed the Terrifier films.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
This
he's becoming a big name with the Terrifier movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our third collaboration with him because he did The Only Killing, The Town Without Halloween, and now he's doing this.
very thankful for him.
He just got out of the studio on The Last Sleepover too, so we're actually supposed to get the first Scarlett track tonight.
Oh, cool.
So which I didn't
know
tell you
that.
that. Yeah.
That's
Very exciting. Yeah, we'll probably premiere it sometime September, October, and then of course we'll be going through distribution during that time to secure a distributor. So
that's super exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna ask so at Horror Hound, the actor that played Scarlett was it with that you had with you? Is that an actor in the movie, or was it just
she's in the movie?
She's in the movie. Okay.
But we don't know if she's the real Scarlett.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
we don't know who the real Scarlett is.
That's what made it fun. Everybody just had a
Yeah,
blast with the whole fact.
Well, the cast was trying to pry and see if the person at Horror Hound was who's Scarlett, and we were like, nice try, but no.
Yeah.
We're still not going to tell you.
I hope you enjoyed our chat with Gregory Brock and Austin Rutherford, who are making The Last Sleepover. And I hope you're like us, where you're excited to see it come out.
Also, if you want to learn more or look at any of their merch, there is a link in the description below where you can do that.
Okay.
Also, if you'd like to support the channel more, you can become a member where you'll get free, we get discounts on merch, and you'll get members only content and other things here and there that we have. So if you'd like to do that, that's also available. If you'd like to see more of us, don't forget to hit subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.